Good morning. It's mealtime once again. It's Wednesday morning, and I'm going to show you everything about today's meals, and I'll go ahead and include tomorrow's as well in this video. So I have the stuff all figured out from before, as you hopefully saw that planning video, and I'm starting off with oatmeal, so let's just get right to it. It's another oatmeal day, and today I've got dried cherries to go in with the oatmeal. So I'm just going to be cooking it up and eating it. I'm not going to show you a whole lot because it's just oatmeal and it's dried cherries. So I know this is a good meal and it's a great way to get my day started. And I will probably go ahead and supplement with a granola bar or some other. I have Luna bars as well, and one other thing I can't remember. Anyway, so that's going to be the extent for Wednesday morning's look at meal prep for breakfast. I will definitely show you all the details in the next one coming up here in a few seconds when it comes lunchtime. For today's lunch, I feel a little more hungry, so I've decided, can't remember if I originally planned this for lunch anyway or not, but anyway, I'm going to do the Singapore savory rice. It says it's mild. And let's see, 1¼ cups cold water, bring to a boil, reduce the heat, cover and simmer for 5 minutes, stirring occasionally, stand for 2 minutes. Now I went and put in just shy of 2 cups of water, because I'm also going to add in these lentils. And I also have added some garlic in there, if I remember right. It looks like garlic is in there too. So I'm going to throw in these lentils as well, and I'll just put them all in at the same time, because the lentils will for sure need some extra time to cook. And so this is saying 5 minutes until the rice has absorbed the water. Yeah, if I let it go longer, it's not going to kill the rice. It might make it a little more, I guess, goopy, but I'm not going to be too picky on that. I do want to make sure though that my lentils get fully cooked for sure, because I don't know about you, but I kind of think lentils are gross, but I'm doing it because it's definitely got some stuff that I need, i.e. it's healthy. And then if I add it to something, certainly it's going to be fine if I add it. So I'm not that concerned about it. So I will get this going. So I decided actually I'm going to change up a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead, the water is nearly boiling. I'm going to go ahead and toss in the lentils now and give them about 5 minutes before I put in the rice. Because if I remember right, my wife told me the lentils need 10 to 20 minutes. So I will put those in early and put the rice in afterwards. All right, after talking to some fellow hikers and showing them my map on my phone, the lentils have cooked enough, probably 7 minutes now, and that's fine. Time to add the goods here. The rice. It does have kind of a curry scent to it, a curry flavoring, it seems. So I'm going to let this simmer, cook, whatever, for about 5 minutes as I occasionally stir. That rice will plump on up. All right, it has cooked certainly long enough, and it's time to eat. It does look a little bit soupy. I may have just done a little bit too much water. If you'll recall, it wanted 1¼ cups just for the rice. I added lentils, so I went with about 1¾ cups. Yeah, it seems that was a little bit much, but it's still gonna be fine. It's not too bad. Now, the lentils still need a little more, so I'm going to give it another 5 minutes or so. That'll take us up to closer to 20 minutes on the lentils themselves. Kind of what the top end of what my wife was saying was necessary. So I'm going to turn the burner back on and get it going a little bit more. All right, it is finally cooked, and a lot of that water had boiled down. Let's take a look here. And then also just take a look at the coloration of my spoon. Here's the original fork color. That's the original color of the plastic. And then of course now I have a nice yellow patina on my spoon. But a lot of that water has cooked way down. The rice is a little bit more plump. Those lentils, I'm sure, are way more plump. Way better. This is something I can actually eat. As far as the flavor is concerned, I'm not one who's a huge fan of curries and things like that. So this isn't terrible. I'm glad, so glad it's mild. It's not terrible. But will I be getting it again? Maybe, just so I can have some variety, but this is, I know it's going to be all right, but it definitely leaves me wanting a little something else. Wish I could tell you exactly what that was. So at the end of the meal, I'll give you a little bit of a synopsis once I'm done. Just a quick review to finish up this meal of the Singapore rice and the added lentils that I had. I'm definitely glad I added the lentils, because that, while it was a mild flavor, the curry flavor was mild. That's a certain flavor. That is a flavor that has, when it's hot sauce or anything, Mexican food, whatever along those lines, Thai food, and it's hot, I can handle some heat. When it's curry, that's when I was like, oh, let's pull it back a little bit. And the lentils made it actually edible, because it helped bring a blandness to that curry. And it was almost still too strong. I actually didn't finish it at all. So I ate probably 90% of it, 80% of it, somewhere in there. And so probably not a meal that I'm going to repeat. So if you like curry, definitely that is a good one for you to consider. Okay, the next meal that's coming up in just a few seconds is going to be supper here on Wednesday afternoon. And I once again have ramen. And this time, rather than adding a whole bunch of more salt like I did with the mushrooms, I just have some greens and some garlic to add to it. Now additionally, I also have some of the Progresso soup. So that stuff has a certain flavor to it though that I'm not sure I want to mix with ramen. So I will leave this. This is like my extra food. If I run into problems, if I had a bad planning or whatever, and I need another meal, that's my extra meal. And so I'm looking at a slightly lighter supper tonight, where it's just the ramen plus the greens and a little bit of garlic. Well, it's Wednesday night and it's time for that ramen, and then I have a little bit of greens and garlic to go with it. So just a little bit extra to toss in it tonight. So I'm gonna get the stove all assembled and ready to go. I'm a fan of spinach, which I think that's what this is. I know I had some chard before as well, so it's maybe a mix of chard and spinach. But I'm actually a fan of cooked spinach, and then of garlic. I just love the flavor of garlic. So to add that to this soy sauce flavored whatever, little leaf trying to get out, soy sauce flavored ramen, I think is going to be really delicious. Oh, there's definitely some chard in there. I see the red stem. Don't usually have that. Don't ever have that on spinach. All right, I don't think there'll be any surprises with this meal, but what's interesting to me is how I really don't feel just famously hungry like I have in the other meals that I've eaten. So to end my trip with the major meals anyway, this way, of course we have tomorrow's breakfast still, is somehow just some kind of providence, some kind of happy accident. It just happened this way. I do still have the one extra soup if I needed it. I do not think I will need it. And then I've been eating my granola bars all along as well. Let me grab those for you. I use my quilt stuff sack to hold all my food and hang it up when I'm not using it to hold my stuff sack. There's my trash. And my snacks, I have one Luna bar left. So that is the key lime coconut. I'll probably have that tonight. It is so delicious. I love it. I might as well have it tonight because tomorrow's hike is actually going to be pretty short to get out of here. So I won't need a super amount of energy tomorrow. And besides, I do have an extra meal in the car waiting for me if I need to eat before I get in the car and head home. That is waiting for me too. It's cooking up nicely. Looking real good and delicious. This will be something that's easy cleaning as well. I like that. Those meals that have been a little more difficult to get the container clean, like oatmeal or, whatever. Just a little bit of a pain in the butt. So as I'm preparing for my big trip in September, I'll be thinking about that, I'm sure. How easy is it going to be to clean? And when do I want to sequence those meals? All right, so we'll pick it up tomorrow morning when I have breakfast. I'll see you then. This will be the last meal of this outing, and of course it's just oatmeal, but this time I'm going to be putting oatmeal together with some dried pineapple. I've never done that before. I like the dried pineapple all by itself. We just dehydrate it at home and buy a pineapple at the store, chop it up, throw it in the dehydrator. And I figured, well, I'll give it a try in the pineapple, make it nice and kind of sort of plump, once again with the water, but also the flavor. I just don't know how to mix with oatmeal. I mean, oatmeal is pretty bland already. I like the pineapple flavor. So pretty much I think any fruit I would like in oatmeal. Maybe not kiwi, that would be gross. But all right, the last meal, and this is good. It's been a good set of meals throughout these last few days. And the only one I did not like was that Singapore inspired, whatever they called it. It had a curry flavor, and it was fine. It was edible. It's just I probably won't be buying it again. Whereas all the other items are great. Another thing to be thinking about too, like the clean out of the mug of the Jetboil. When it comes to oatmeal, it's okay. It's a little bit slimy, but it cleans out pretty easily. When those things, like the refried beans and a few other of those bean dishes, they tended to get a little extra goopy, and so that's just something you gotta be prepared for, to be able to either not care about and have residue in your next meal, or maybe you just don't do it for a while because you're tired of cleaning things out. So I need to get this boiling, and I actually need to go get my food. Because there's deer around, I go ahead and hang it in a tree anyway. So I'm going to go get my food, and I'll get the stuff added here shortly. So the dried pineapple, it tends to clump up a little bit, but that's what the individual pieces look like. It's definitely kind of chewy, really dried. But man, it's good. If you like pineapple, this is good stuff. It's so cool watching those little bubbles form. Way down there on the bottom. Just as it's starting to boil. Maybe I'll turn the heat back up. There we go. All right, I think it's time for the time for the oatmeal. Oatmeal's already in. You saw that. Time for the pineapple. I'm not going to put all of this in. I'm hoping it'll break apart as well once it gets moist and all that. So, leaving about that much out. Maybe I'll put a little more in. It's the kind of thing where even if it doesn't taste good, I'm going to eat it anyway. Alright, we'll let that cook for a little bit longer and then taste it and see what it's like. Looks pretty good. As good as dried pineapple and oatmeal can look, I guess. Whew. Too hot. It's interesting, the pineapple flavor is not as strong as I expected it to be, but it's still quite good. And the pineapple also adds a little bit of that crunchiness, like, when you have raisins or whatever in there. Crunchiness is the wrong word, but just adds that different texture, which is nice too. But Yeah, I did expect the flavor to be stronger. Maybe I'll dig down and see what I find down there. But that's alright. I highly recommend it. If you want just a little flavor to your oatmeal, some dried pineapple can go a long way. I put enough in there, I believe, so I'll have at least one chunk every spoonful, maybe 2 chunks sometimes. So there's quite a bit in there. But that wraps up this little series on preparing and then, well, I should say planning for, and then preparing the meals and eating them and seeing how they go. And I thank you for watching. And make sure you hit that like button. That would be awesome. It would be great if you'd also subscribe, but we'll see. You know, we got lots more things coming up in the future that are going to be backpacking type camping related as well. I've got some huge trips coming up here in the fall, and so if that interests you, I'll be doing a lot more of that kind of a thing. Probably not a whole lot on the food side of things, but you know, the backpacking photography related interests, that's where I'm at this fall. All right, have a great day. Until next time, happy shooting.